Let's shift focus from Paris to what's happening here in the national capital. Delhi is sinking. It is seeing the kind of flooding and waterlogging which the national capital has not seen for the last almost 5 decades now. And this is not because of unprecedented rainfall. Remember, and this is where the distinction needs to be drawn. Rains have pretty much stopped for the last 5 days or so, since early Tuesday. There hasn't been as much rain for the last 5 days here in Delhi and the wider national capital region, but large parts of the city are underwater. From the Red Fort to the Rajghat to the Ring Road, it is all completely submerged. And it's not because of the rain, and that's what I want to underline. It's not because of the rain, because the rain stopped 5 days ago. It is because the people who manage the water flow in and out of the Yamuna have not done a particularly good job of it. So who is to blame for the poor dam and water management? That's the question we're asking tonight on Rastax, and we will get to the bottom of that in 1 second. But first, the story.
You can see in the visuals as well that still the residents can be seen leaving from this particular location. They have no other option but to leave from this particular site. They are moving towards either to their relatives or some other location. As you can see in the visuals, that a team of the NDRF has been deployed here. We have been given to understand that there is a nearby Gaushala, and this is how the rescue process is taking place.
Now it has been almost completely submerged underwater. So you can only imagine the kind of water levels which have increased over this point. This is the ring road basically, which actually goes towards the famous Margatwale Hanuman Mandir.
You can see the tractor that is bringing along more cattle from inside, because that is the major issue right now. So most of the area is rural area, most of the area is farmhouse area, and therefore number of cattle and animals was really high.
This is what Yamuna has become right now here in the national capital, how aggressive this river is right now. And in fact, we are reporting from the old bridge.
अश्वनी जी को मैंने कहा, ग्रुप पे लिखा, सीएस साहब भी थे उस पे सर, थोड़ी सी मदद हो जाती सर।
मैं और ये कहना चाहूँगा कि ये समय नहीं है कि हम किसी के ऊपर ब्लेम करें या कुछ और टिप्पणी करें।
Honorable CM has been continuously, not even an hour he might have slept. He has been talking, asking, calling everybody.
जितनी जरूरत होगी उतना एनडीआरएफ की टीम यहाँ लगाई जाएगी। प्रधानमंत्री जी और गृह मंत्री जी का ऐसा निर्देश है।
As thousands of residents of these villages that have been flooded in Noida have already been rescued, the major challenges that lies ahead of before the police as well as civic authorities is to rescue the cattle and the animals that are still stuck inside. You can see police officials are here, and administration is also here. What these animal activists are requesting to the administration is to provide them with enough logistics to make sure that all the animals that are stuck inside can be brought out. As you can see, NDRF teams are also there. They are bringing out people on boats. But right now, the administration and the police are saying that on priority they are evacuating people and residents of the village, while the animals who are stuck, efforts to rescue them are also currently underway.
We are currently reporting from civil lines area inside the Delhi government's officers' flat. This is the particular location where all the residents who were residing here for long, they have been asked to evacuate. A while back, the operation of the NDRF was just conducted at this particular place, and you can see that this is the water level which has reached out at this particular place. If I move any further, I will be to a part will be drowned in water. So as of now, the rescue operation has been done. You can see in the visuals as well that still the residents can be seen leaving from this particular location. They have no other option but to leave from this particular site. They are moving towards either to their relatives or some other location from the national capital Delhi. So this is the situation which is now being seen from the national capital Delhi, that too one of the prominent area where many of the officers of the Delhi government, they reside at this particular place.
The point where I'm standing as of now is just 100 meters away from the Supreme Court, and there you see the condition.
This is water approaching to the main road that leads to Supreme Court. Just 100 meters away from the outgate of Supreme Court, and this is the condition of the national capital, where in fact water has now started reaching Supreme Court. So, in fact, just few minutes back, we got an update that near ITO, CM Arvind Kejriwal would be visiting and will be taking the stock of the situation. But the fact of the matter is that at this point in time, people are facing a lot of difficulties as far as commuting is concerned, as far as their daily life is concerned, because this is, the peak hours, office time. And during this time, a lot of people are travel from one place to another in the national capital, especially in this area where I'm standing as of now. This is Central Delhi in Lithian Zone near Pragati Maidan. We have Supreme Court area, which is now, water has started covering the roads. And in fact, this is the kind of condition where traffic is on. In fact, traffic police is very much there, but water level is constantly rising. In fact, this is the kind of condition also because, drainage water is not finding its way to Yamuna, and Yamuna is already overflowing, and that is the reason why this water is actually backflowing into the areas. This area is one of the crucial areas. We have Supreme Court of India, the national property, in fact, national building.
This is what Yamuna has become right now here in the national capital, how aggressive this river is right now. And in fact, we are reporting from the old bridge, the old iron bridge. In fact, today we are the only channel to actually get here, and in fact to get you these visuals which you're seeing on your screens. In fact, the water levels have risen so high. In fact, now what is happening here is that this entire area has been cordoned off by the police officials, and in fact you can see this entire area is emptied. In fact, it was emptied earlier, but in fact there were reports that some people were still getting inside this very old Loha pool, but now this entire area has been cordoned off. And in fact, some people were also telling about some rescue operation going on at that side of that very this Yamuna pool. And in fact, you can see in these visuals how high the levels are of these waters, and in fact just touching the floor of this very bridge. In case the water rises from here any further, the water will come upon this bridge. I'll show you the visual from other side as well. You can see how aggressive the river has become here. In fact, this wasn't yesterday, but now the water levels are actually staying constant, but still the condition is very grim.
Currently, if you see behind me, the location from where I'm reporting is not the banks of Yamuna, but it's the flooded plains. I'm currently reporting from the relief camp that has been set up in Mayur Vihar, and the banks of Yamuna is at least a kilometer and a half away from here. People have been shifted from low-lying areas out here in the national capital to this relief camp, makeshift relief camp that has been set up. And if you could see the condition of this relief camp, this actually tells a story within itself of how miserable is the condition and how are people being forced to leave their homes and stay here just to save themselves from the flooded water of Yamuna. If I could just show you a bit around in this relief camp, this is the kind of condition that people are being forced to live in. The basic amenities are also not available over here. Makeshift tents have been made out here by the government, and several photo ops have already been done from this location, whereas several ministers and several MLAs have already reached out here, tried to speak to people, but yes, no one has come out here to help them and to make sure that the amenities that are provided to them is improved in any way or any manner, and that is the reason why people are being forced to live in such miserable conditions.
All right, so a series of reports from our reporters across the length and breadth of the national capital. But who is to blame? Like I said at the top of the show, it's been 5 days since the rain stopped in Delhi. So this is not a rain problem. This is more a water management problem. Who is to blame? Vineet Goenka, spokesperson of the BJP, joining us. Akshay Marathe, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Sudhir Krishna is former Secretary of Urban Development. And Dipinder Kaur is Director of the Water Program at the Centre for Science and Environment. Akshay Marathe, let me start with you first. One can understand if there is unprecedented rainfall and cities sort of come to their knees because of that. Delhi has not seen any substantial rain since Monday night, Tuesday morning. Today we're talking about Friday. And today the city is still flooded. Large parts of the Yamuna have overflown, whether it's Red Fort or Ring Road or Rajghat. I mean, surely, A, this could have been better anticipated and prepared for, and B, who is to be held accountable for this? Because it's not the rain. It's just bad dam and water management.
Zaka, you have asked a very important question that at a time in Delhi when there is almost no rainfall for the last 5 days, when you don't have any localized source of waterlogging and flooding, why is it that the people of Delhi are still having to face a flood? And I think the answer to this question lies in simple common sense and simple understanding of how the geographic terrain of North India works. You have a situation where we are experiencing a climatic catastrophe in Himachal Pradesh and Haryana. We have experienced unprecedented rainfall all across North India. And all of that water eventually has to flow downstream. There is no other way it can flow. So if it rains in Himachal and Haryana, it will flow into Delhi, and from Delhi, it will flow into Uttar Pradesh. There is nothing that you or me can do about that. But what we can do is to use the resources at our command and try and divert the flow of water as much as possible. And what we suspect has happened, what the Aam Aadmi Party is saying may have happened, is that in Haryana, where you have the Hathni Kund barrage, from where there are 3 water outlets. One is the main flow of the river Yamuna that goes into Delhi. One is the flow that goes into Uttar Pradesh, which is through a canal.
Okay.
And another is another canal that also goes into Haryana. So of these 3 outlets, only the main flow of the river Yamuna has remained open for the last 4 days. And only after we raised an alarm that why aren't you using these 2 canals to divert the flow of the Yamuna, have they now opened up these 2 canals and now the river water has subsided. You have seen the last 1 day or so, the levels of Yamuna have actually begun to slowly come down.
Okay.
So it is actually a very important question for all of us to look at.
Okay,
how
so
do we
let me
manage
ask
the flow of
Vinit
water when a
Goenka
natural
this, that
disaster
if
like
the
this
rains
happens?
have stopped for the last 5 days, the Aam Aadmi Party is alleging that the barrages are open only towards the Delhi side, not to the UP side. Is this a man-made crisis and a man-made disaster, Mr. Goenka?
Zaka, Ram Ram to you, to my co-panelists, and Ram Ram to all the viewers who are watching me right now. The real reason are 3. 1, the encroachment which has been done in the Yamuna post 2014-15 once the state government of Aam Aadmi Party has come. Your own channel and your own show had shown how UP government had to intervene and evacuate the squatters who, under the garb of taking the land, been promoted by the Aam Aadmi Party MLA near Okhla. So this can be seen by anybody who travels on DND. The bucket of the Yamuna has come down, it has become shallow because of multiple reasons. 1, encroachment. 2, is the dumping of the waste trucks so that the trucks don't go to Gazipur. The plastic which has been dumped, controlled and been organized, deliberately been done. Number 3 is that 800 odd nalas which carry the sewage and the chemicals in the Yamuna which blocks the percolation and the entire thing. The capacity of the bucket of the Yamuna within Delhi has reduced to 1/3. You can check any geospatial data. Number 2, on the people of Aam Aadmi Party who don't understand science. Hathni River, which is on 30.18 east and 77.35 north latitude, it has got more than 10 gates. If you understand basic things, when the water flows from upstream, if it carries a boulder, it comes down only. The canals are opened only when there is an irrigation system, and the canals cannot carry more than 9,000 cubic of water. The current capacity of the water which is traveling from upstream is not less than 110,000 liters. You understand? Not even 1% can be diverted. Number 2, when the water is not been drawn by the farmer, which will not be drawn right now because there are rains, the tail end will come back to Yamuna. So this logic is flawed. If they basically would have understood basic 8th standard geography, they would have not come up with this argument. The problem is the corruption. Where is that 6,800? Let me complete, sir. Let me complete. Where is that 6,800 crore rupees which they have shown us to be spent on Yamuna cleaning for last 8 years? They have to give you this accounts of 6,800 crore rupees. Number 3, they are into a habit of blaming it on somebody else. See, when there is a COVID, they say central government jo hai oxygen leke aayega. If there is a pollution, they used to say Punjab and Haryana. Thankfully, Punjab has gone to them. Now the problem of pollution only comes from Haryana. The moment there was a power shortage, they said coal comes from central government. Central government has to provide for that. Drinking water shortage is there. Haryana will give it. If the drinking water is bad, then Haryana.
No, I get all of that. I get all of that. I need to ask you. I need to ask you this question. I need to ask you this question, Vinit Goenka. I need to ask you this question. Aam Aadmi Party is alleging,
have to
and
ask the question to the perpetrators of crime. That is Aam Aadmi Party.
You can respond to the Aam Aadmi Party. They are saying
You want
only
a
the
victim to
barrage
respond?
towards Delhi
They are
is being
perpetrators of
opened.
crime.
The
They are
barrage
having
towards
PWD, which
Uttar
has not
Pradesh
worked.
is not being opened. Respond to that. This is their allegation. It's a big allegation.
I have the figures also, Zaka. If you
One
like.
sec.
you, Zaka,
Your
for
name
asking
is
this
not.
question.
Your name is not Vineet Goenka. Let Vineet
Then
Goenka respond.
Thank you, Jaka, for asking this again. Two things. One, question has to be asked to the perpetrator of the crime. There should be, there should be an inquiry conducted and culpable homicide should be levied against them. A, because the 6,800 crore rupees which they have been showing on the papers have been totally been gulped by them. A. B, Hatni particular barrages don't hold water. Sir, basic understanding of science, they don't hold water, they just divert the water. And I told you, it cannot divert more than 9,000 cubic. Please understand. And the current flow is 1,10,000 cubic. What is the percentage? Not even 1% can be diverted, so 99% will come down. And when there is a heavy flow, the boulders come down in it, no barrage captain will ever stop the water to flow. Number 3, and for assuming, for God's sake, you tell me, if I want to assume that the water will be diverted, it will come back from the tail end. I am giving you details which are there in this science. And if you understand geospatial, please take out the photograph and let us ask them, किसने यमुना में गंदगी फैलाई? So if you see two comparative photographs of 2014 February and now, you will understand the hectares and hectares of land where they have constructed buildings.
So,
buildings
Akshay
by
Marathe,
the MLAs of Aam Aadmi Party is responsible for this. They have reduced the capacity.
You gave rampant permission for
चोरी करेंगे, फिर question
farmhouses
पूछेंगे.
and buildings to come on the floodplains. You have not desilted the drains. To say that, Haryana is just releasing water into Delhi, that is just half the story. The other half of the story is what you should have done, and you've not done that. Therefore, Delhi is flooded today.
Zaka, let me answer point by point. Number one, when it comes to desilting of drains, I'm saying on record, you can send your reporters and check all the desilting of drains has been completed by the Aam Aadmi Party government. When it comes to the floodplains of the Yamuna, you very well know, Zaka, that land in Delhi is a central subject. So if you want to point fingers, you have to point fingers at the central government itself. So the BJP spokesperson has actually brought to light a very important issue, that there is land encroachment going on. The police and the DDA, both of which are directly run by the central government of the Bharatiya Janata Party, have been caught napping. Thank you, Mr. Goenka, for bringing it to national attention. Point number 3, when it comes to the question of the flow of Yamuna, I actually have the figures in front of me, Zaka. I have figures from 12th July, 12 p.m. It says 1,36,274 cusecs of water have been let through per hour. Similarly, in 2 days after we have been raising this alarm, now the figure has come down to 50,000 to 60,000 cusecs. So how is it that when they have been able to reduce the flow of water today, after Aam Aadmi Party has raised an alarm, why didn't they do the same 2 days ago when the clear warning signs were visible to everybody?
Okay, so let me ask Sudhir Krishna, former Secretary Urban Development in the Government of India, Dipinder Kapoor.
Can I revert back to him, Zaka, before you go to the next
Sudhir
panelist,
Krishna,
please?
Sudhir Krishna, please. Sudhir Krishna, Sudhir Krishna, the question that's being asked is, clearly this is a manual oversight, a manual error, if you will, that 5 days after the rains have stopped, Delhi still continues to flood. Yes, a lot of that water is from Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, from the plains flowing down into, from the hills flowing down into the plains. But surely that was a known variable. It's not an unknown variable. When Delhi received rain last week and through the weekend, Himachal was receiving unprecedented rain. This should have been anticipated. Why has that not happened is the question, and who needs to be held to account for that?
I think the situation today indicates that it is more of nature's warning than nature's fury. It is fury, no doubt, but it is in bigger measure, it is nature's warning, because rains have not been happening in the way they happened 5 days before, and it is not unexpected that again rains would come. And we can put the blame on climate change, but that does not absolve all of us from the responsibility of taking a lesson, drawing a lesson, and preparing for the future. What has happened in the past is a very big lesson. And the lesson is that water flow cannot be managed by any local authority. It has to be on scientific basis and on watershed basis. Watershed, Delhi does not itself constitute a watershed. Surrounding areas of Delhi and the NCT put together, these constitute watershed that would be defined by the National Capital Region Planning Board, NCR Planning Board. And therefore, the drainage plan has to be made for the watershed, first of all, and thereafter for Delhi. Because if we don't do that, there is one end of the story. If we don't do that, then water coming from outside Delhi and going outside Delhi, these will be ignored. And we will be only focusing on Delhi, which will be an inadequate analysis, number one. Number two, within Delhi, of course, watershed has to be broken into sub-watershed. We have to forget to an extent, to a good extent, about the administrative boundaries and focus more on the natural boundaries, natural drainage system, natural watershed, where the water comes down and flows. That is the watershed and the natural drainage system.
Okay, so let me ask Dipinder Kaur at the Center for Science and Environment. You know, there were these pictures doing the rounds on Twitter yesterday, how the Yamuna now flooding the back gates of the Red Fort. It is only reclaiming what used to be the path of the river earlier. And then, of course, human beings are to be blamed for it because there are encroachments and there are other buildings that have come up on the floodplains of the Yamuna, that now the river is taking back its territory, as it were. Now, the question that is being asked again and again is, who then should be held to account for this grave injustice that has happened to the people of Delhi?
See, I think instead of trying to identify who's to be blamed for, let's understand two factors which are responsible for the current situation. One is the fact that River Yamuna is dry when it enters Delhi for as long as 6 to 7 or 8 months in a year. So when it is entering Delhi from Haknikund, is dry for 6, 7, 8 months. So where does it get water? It gets water from our sewage system, from Delhi. So the river again is flooded, has water when it is in Delhi after Wazirabad. So the fact is that the river runs dry. It is fed by our sewage and partially treated sewage, which also includes silt. So many experts have been saying that the river is silting up. Therefore, if the rains have not been so as big as the 1978 floods, the Haknikund hasn't released as much water as it did at that time. The river is overflowing and has reached 208.6 meter stage. So it's partly responsible that the siltage of the river has happened. And the second reason is the encroachment or the coverage of the floodplain. Now that has been going on for the past 40 years. It's not something of the past 5 or 10 or 20 years. So large parts of Delhi along the river, especially from ITO towards Okhla, have been encroached on both sides. Colonies have been built, Gita colony, unauthorized has been authorized, several other colonies have formed. So the river in a way is funneling as it goes from ITO ahead. It doesn't have a way out. And naturally, where will it go? Then it will go back, it will rise up. That is what is happening.
No, so I want to go back to the political spokespersons, Vineet Goenka as well as Akshay Marathe. It's clear that unless you have some kind of a political understanding or a political consensus, Vineet Goenka, that the problem of the national capital is not going to get resolved, because Mr. Kejriwal is going to blame the central government, he's going to blame the Haryana government, saying that the barrage was opened when Delhi couldn't clearly handle it. And then on the other side, you are going to see the BJP attacking Mr. Kejriwal, saying he does not know how to run a government and that this whole waterlogging is his fault, etc. I'm concerned with a more fundamental point, and that is how the central government and the AAP government of the state can come together to deal with something as basic, as commonsensical as overflooding on the banks of the Yamuna, on the floodplains of the Yamuna.
So let me answer this, and before that, let me expose the Aam Aadmi spokesperson who said everything was clear. Mr. Marathe may not be knowing about Delhi, so let me tell him. On the 9th of June 2023, in the house of MCD, which is currently been controlled by Aam Aadmi Party, on record, the engineering department of MCD said, we will not be able to clean more than 55% of the drains. This is there on record. And now he's on your channel trying to tell that they have cleaned everything. Number two, 2064 kilometers of PWD controlled drains not been cleaned for last 6 years, not a single inch. Please show me a single geospatial data which is provided there. So not a single inch. So two. Number two, Mr. Marathe, you guys blame everybody. So you forgot that I said it was encroachment done by your people. And let me tell you, please open newspapers. Amanatullah Khan was been asked to answer it, and the land been encroached by him was demolished by UP government because it belonged to the UP irrigation department within Delhi. So sir, before you answer on the national TV, please keep your facts correct. And you know that I have my notes always along with me.
Okay, so Akshay Marathe, respond to that.
People.
There are low-lying areas,
no, don't speak in between. Don't speak in between. Don't speak in
lastly,
lastly,
Yamuna.
Mr.
Goenka, please
Jaka,
yield.
last thing.
No, one second. Please yield. Please yield. Let me go across to Akshay Marathe. Thank you very much. Akshay Marathe, please respond. There are large-scale farmhouses that have come up on the floodplains of the Yamuna. Who gave permission? Who gave permission to these houses to come up?
Zaka, 2 points. Number one.
And 9th June's report.
July,
Let him respond. Thank you.
It's there.
On 4th of July, the Delhi Lieutenant Governor, Mr. V.K. Saxena, has come on record and he has invited the entire media and tom-tommed that he and his government, which is actually the Aam Aadmi Party government, has cleaned up the entire Yamuna. So when it comes to taking credit for cleaning the Yamuna, the Lieutenant Governor and the Bharatiya Janata Party are the first to say we have cleaned the Yamuna. Now when there is a catastrophe on the people of Delhi, all the BJP spokespersons can do is blame Arvind Kejriwal and attack Aam Aadmi Party. I want to ask them.
No, but Akshay, Yamuna doesn't come under the central government. Yamuna comes under you guys. What have you been doing in the run-up to the barrage being opened?
Zaka, can I finish my point?
No, I know, but
Anil
please answer my
Haryana
question.
Minister has been 1 second. Anil Vij, the Haryana minister, has had to take a boat to get to his house because even Haryana is flooded like Delhi. Even Noida, which comes in Uttar Pradesh under Yogi Adityanath, is also flooded. Is the BJP today saying that Arvind Kejriwal is responsible for flooding in Haryana and Uttar Pradesh also? No, because the BJP can not think of any commonsensical argument. So they want to rake up all kinds of false allegations against Arvind Kejriwal, but will not answer the singular question that when they knew that Delhi and Noida cannot take the flow of the Yamuna beyond a certain level, why did they let the Yamuna waters flow from Hathni Kund barrage, which they could have easily diverted to
No, Akshay, it is a barrage. It's a small size dam. It cannot hold water beyond a certain level.
I'm not asking
I believe it's 208 meters or so. If it cannot hold water, they will open up the sluice gates.
I'm talking about diversion. I'm not talking about holding the water, Zaka. Please understand. I'm not saying that Hathni Kund can hold water, but they have two other outlets that they can divert the flow of water to, and it was not done. Ask him, why was it not done? He's saying only 7,000 cusecs can be let in through those outlets. Then why not those 7,000 cusecs of water should be allowed to go into UP and Haryana instead of Delhi?
Okay, we leave it at that. Again, we have no independent way of confirming that water is only coming to Delhi. It's not going to UP or to other parts. But we leave it at that. Like I said, the tragedy that the national capital is actually facing is it's not like it's raining right now. It's not like it's raining cats and dogs. Right now, it hasn't been raining for the last 5 days, and yet, because of poor dam management, poor water management, the national capital and large parts of the national capital are under water because the Yamuna has overflown. Hopefully, if it doesn't rain in the next couple of days and the sun comes out and there is enough pumps to sort of pump the water out, hopefully by Monday or so, we should get the situation back to normal. Meanwhile,